Welcome to Your City at Work, your program about local government departments and services. Your City at Work is a production of the City of Oshkosh and Oshkosh Community Media Services.
Thank you for joining us today. We have a special little segment today just on fire safety, and I'm here with John Holland, our education specialist for the Oshkosh Fire Department, and he's going to show me some fire safety tips and habits that we can have in dealing or preventing fires from happening in our home.
You got it.
And we're here in the Oshkosh Safe House, Oshkosh Fire Department Safe House, and what's the first thing you're going to show us here?
All right. Well, we'll start off with the most common cause of fire injuries, which is right here on the stove. Obviously, we have a lot of kitchen fires because that's where the fire is. I'm on the stove or whatever. Big one is when you are cooking, make sure you turn those pot handles in. Okay.
I know a lot of close calls that have happened in my house.
Yes.
With my roommates leaving it out.
Exactly. Especially with kids. This is kid height. And they hit that and it's going to all dump on them. So turn that in. The oven mitt or the pot holder is great for keeping your hands safe. However, when you're using it, you don't place it on the stove. Most of these things are just common sense. But what I always say when people say, you know, what do you do and why? And it's like, well, I have a job because people don't have common sense. If they did, we would have nothing to do. Most of the fires we go to are these tiny little, we're going to save a few minutes here. And it turns into what seems like a tiny little mistake can turn into a catastrophe.
Right. So moving away from the kitchen area, or moving to a different part of the kitchen, what other things can we watch out for in our home?
All right. Number one cause of fire deaths and the number one cause of fires in Oshkosh are right here. Smoking or the careless use of smoking materials, especially getting rid of the ashes. It is, like I said, our number one cause of fires, and it is taking the ashes, dumping them into a plastic bag, a paper bag.
Or a garbage
or a garbage filled with
newspaper.
newspaper. You caught that one.
Yes.
You passed the takeout. Yep, that's why that is there. So exactly, with the garbage right there. Smoking in bed, which is still an issue. Especially, I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to bed because you were tired. And then you put the blankets on you, and you light up and you fall asleep. And if that cigarette falls out of your mouth, blankets become kindling. You have basically wrapped yourself in kindling, and it is way too late. There's nothing you can do. So make sure when you get rid of your ashes, you wet them down first. Your ashtray should never look like this. Once it starts going over the top of the ashtray, that's a really good sign that that's too much. So take your ashtray, take it into the kitchen sink, wet it down, leave it sit. Overnight's great, and then you can dump them wherever you like. Okay, but it is the ashes that cause the problem. Another problem is right here, right by the cigarettes, matches and lighters. We have a lot of kid set fires, and while it is the child's choice to light the matches or light the lighter, we always blame the parents. They're right here. Okay, I mean, they're right there.
Readily available.
Very readily available. And the parents will say, well, it's very convenient. And you're right. I mean, it is for them, especially like on a grill. You see the aim and flame lighters, and they leave it right on the grill because it's so convenient. But then it is also convenient for a child to pick that up and play with it. And once you know as well as I do, especially the aim and flame, once you have it in your hand, it is very hard not to play with it.
It is. I know I have a hard time not playing with it, so I can imagine how hard it is for a kid.
Exactly.
So another thing that relates to the lighters, especially the AIM ones, is candles. What can we watch out for when using candles?
You bet. The big one with candles is make sure that when you leave the room, you blow out the candle. And I mean leave the room, not leave the house. You have a candle burning and you're going to go to the bathroom even. Blow out the candle. Candle fires that we go to, people say, well, the candle was only burning for a little while. The candle is now this big, and there's a puddle of wax on the floor. And I just stepped out for a little bit, and I was like, "Wow, you got a fast-burning candle."
Yeah. Extra hot flame.
Exactly. I don't know what you lit that with, but so you blow it out if you leave the room, and if you go to bed at night, obviously, or leave the house. Another problem with this one is it is right by the curtains. Okay, the wind blows, and it's going to do that. We have those probably every other spring when people are doing their spring cleaning, and they're so happy to be able to open the windows and get in the fresh air, and they want to get that mustiness out, so they light a candle and they put it right there, and
So keep the candles away from flammable things like curtains, blankets, anything like that, and just don't let it out of your sight.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if I can back up just a little bit, with the cooking, the number one cause of cooking fires is the same thing as this, unattended cooking. They just leave the kitchen and they forget about it.
Right.
Or worse yet, they will leave the house. And again, it's the same thing. We were only gone for 20 minutes. However, you'll have like an electric stove with the coil on it, and we've already had a fire where the coil had burned into the bottom of the pan, and that was one. We were only gone for 10 minutes.
Right.
Okay. So just be there. Pay attention.
Right.
Okay.
So another thing we've got here.
Another thing here, and this looks pretty ridiculous, but actually it could happen and has happened. Not quite to this extreme, but the curtain and the toaster here, what can happen is, you're going to get that breeze going across here. It's going to land on here, and you think, well, but the toaster's not on. Couple things could happen. A, the toaster could still be warm. And the one we did have, and this is like a 1 in a million shot, but it still has happened. That what happened was they were going to put groceries on the counter, and when they did, the curtain was on here, and when they put the grocery bag down, they pushed it on and turned on the toaster.
That's like the perfect storm right there.
It is, and it's one of those things where, like, unfortunately, you were going to have a fire today. I don't know how you were going to do it, but you were going to find some way to do it.
It's not only curtains. I've known from living in crowded apartments with other people, it's having bags of chips or paper bags like a grocery bag, or even paper towels, like a roll of paper towels if it's sitting next to your toaster. You got
it. And going back to convenience, bread bags. They have the bread bags here. And when I was growing up, actually, I would never do this. My parents did this. We had the little Wonder print melted on the dots melted right onto the toaster. So again, it's just, you have to watch what you are doing and look out around it.
All right, so some great examples in the kitchen here. What else can we look for maybe in the living area of the house?
In the living area, the big one probably is right here. Extension cords. When I put this together, I thought this was ridiculous. This is nothing, especially when you get into the college housing and things.
Yes.
People are very generous to each other. We've already had an orange extension cord going from one house to the next, so both houses were run on all the same power. Instead of doing this, you should have, if you have to use an extension cord, you should have just one thing plugged into an extension cord. Okay, like here. However, if you use a power strip, this is a much better idea. You can plug as many things into here as there are slots. And but you have to be careful when you buy these. It has to have a little on and off switch somewhere. It'll either be up here, or sometimes they have a little button on the side you push, because they do sell them that don't have that little breaker in there. And then you have one of these. You just have a fancy looking extension cord. And with these, what happens is they just get hotter and hotter and hotter until you have a fire. With these, what happens is if you have too many things plugged in here, it'll turn off. And everything will go off. So it's a really good sign that you have too many things plugged in. So you unplug one, turn it back on, and then see how it works from there.
Great. Much safer option than having a big knot of cords all in your house.
Yes, and it's a trip hazard, and then also people hide them because they are ugly. They'll put a rug over them, which we're back to the kindling and the fire there. Yes. Also with the living areas, if you are using space heaters, watch what you are putting by the space heaters. Shouldn't be any papers nearby. We have had a couple fires with space heaters with towels, and they were trying to dry the towel.
With a space heater.
With a space heater. And I don't know if they wanted a warm towel, if that's what they were looking for, because if that's what they were looking for, they did well, because they got an
Extra
extremely warm towel.
Crispy.
Yes, exactly. So you need to be careful. With the lights, again, you have to make sure you're not by the curtains. This one has a couple things going against it. First of all, just being here with the curtain here. But this kind of light, it's called a torchlight lamp, and if it has a halogen light bulb, and you can tell if it's a long, skinny light bulb. It's not the twisty ones, or it's not the regular size light bulb or the regular shaped light bulb. It's just a long tube, and they get extremely hot. And in fact, I don't think they even make them anymore because they were such a fire hazard. However, there's a lot of them out there. And
especially in like hand-me-down furniture that a lot of people have.
Exactly. And in fact, I had one in my home right after I started working at the fire department. I was sitting around at night, and I started smelling smoke, and it was like, wow, you have been here too long. It's been, a good 3 months now. You are smelling smoke everywhere. And I looked over, and my light, the bulb actually had melted, and whoop, and it was extremely hot. I took it outside. It was wintertime, and as I opened the door and started walking it out, you could hear it crack inside. That's how hot it was from going from the hot to the cold. So it does happen. It can happen. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. They're just way too dangerous.
So not only paying attention to what kind of bulbs you're using, but again, just being aware of what's around it. And sometimes something that doesn't seem like a big deal to you actually is the thing that'll cause the fire. So just being aware of everything.
Exactly. And there is one more hazard in here. Speaking of being aware, and we gotta come this way. It is right up here. The smoke alarm without a battery. It's absolutely worthless without a battery, and I know people take them out because they have a lot of false alarms. Usually that is because they have the detector in the kitchen. What you need to do is you keep that battery in there at all times. If you do get false alarms, like I said, it means your detector is in the wrong place. Get it out of the kitchen. And in fact, we will come and move it for you. We will come and replace your batteries for free, all of that. We have just been going door to door recently, putting in smoke detectors and batteries, and in the few nights that I was out, and we had all sorts of fire companies out, I ran across 3 homes that had absolutely none, no smoke detectors, which was mind-boggling, and we will put them in for free. So there is no excuse, and no excuse for this. Wave something in front of it, deal with it, or move it.
Where can people go to get more information about having some help with their fire detectors?
You bet. If you go on our website, which is oshkoshfd.com, go on the education page, and for the smoke detectors, you can look at it. Project Safe, it's called. Smoke alarms for everyone. Okay?
Excellent. So, should we move on to the next room of this safe house here?
Sure, if you'd like.
So, we're in the bedroom now.
We are in the bedroom. And in the bedroom here, what we do in here, we don't have a whole lot of fire hazards in here. We actually smoke this room up. And we have people crawl out the windows and check the doors.
Dry run.
It is like a dry run. Yes, it's much better to do that. So what we'll do is we'll show you a little smoke. I don't know if you want to see if you can get out. We can talk about how to get out.
I'll give it a try.
All righty. First of all, at home or anywhere, you should sleep with your door shut. That is one thing that most people do not know. A shut door is going to give you about 15 minutes if you are trapped. That is a long time in a fire. We can get anywhere in the city of Oshkosh in less than 5 minutes after you call. Okay, so you got to get moving and call. So you should sleep with that door shut if you can. When your smoke alarm goes off, or if it goes off, I hope it never does, you crawl to get away from the smoke, crawl over to your door, you touch the door. If the door is hot, you don't open the door up, which again seems like common sense, but so if the door's hot, you just go out the window, okay, if you're downstairs. If you're upstairs, you go to the window, you open the window up, you stick your head out the window so you're breathing clean air, not the nasty smoke. Grab something nice and bright to wave out the window, a t-shirt, my flashlight works really well at night. Wave it out the window, scream your lungs out, and we'll come up and get you, okay? If you touch the door and it's not hot, you take a little bitty peek out there, about that big. If you're smoking fire, don't go that way. Shut the door. Window. If you touch the door and it's not hot, and you peek out there and there's no smoke and there's no fire, you just go. Okay, get out of there. So we'll smoke it up for you a little bit. And you can see, and in the safe house here, our smoke is just fog. It is not like the smoke in a real fire, which most people have no idea what it's really like. And that's a good thing. The only way you would know is if you actually had a fire. And the smoke in a real fire is very poisonous. Most people know that. It is also extremely hot, over 1,000 degrees hot. And it's very, very black. You cannot see a thing. You can see about this far. Okay, so you have to get under that smoke and get on out. Okay.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All righty, so here's what it's going to be like. We're going to give you a little bit of smoke. You are going to hear a smoke alarm. And your job is to get out of here. You're going to crawl over. You're going to touch the door. You're going to pretend it's hot. It's not really going to be hot. We don't want you to get hurt. And then you have to figure out what to do. And if you were listening before, you should know exactly what to do. So here we go. Here comes your smoke.
I go?
Wait for the smoke alarm. We'll give you a little bit more. Yep. All right. All right, get down low and get out of here. Check the door. It is hot. All right, so get on out. And go right out the window. You got it. Very, very good. All right, and then make sure you get away from the house.
Oh!
Nice job. You got it.
Yeah, don't stay on the deck, right?
And don't stay on the deck, exactly.
How did I do? Did I pass?
Yeah, you're good.
Good, good.
Right.
Well, thank you for showing us everything in the safe house.
You bet.
All the things that we can do to prevent things from happening in a fire, and if something does happen, a way to get out. What are some things to do that if there is a small fire that we come in contact with that we can put the fire out?
Well, how about we show you how to use a fire extinguisher and you can put out a fire.
All right, let's do it.
Sounds good.
You only know in a fire to get out, to escape. And now, okay, you're outside and you're safe. What do you do now? And that's where the Red Cross came in. We ran out of the house just wearing our pajamas. And at that point, just to even have a toothbrush that I could call my own was so important. You know, it just makes you feel like a person again.
Toxic chemicals and carcinogens are leaching into the environment. It's happening right where we live, work, and play. Everywhere. Cigarette butts are toxic waste. Let's stop the toxic litter. Learn more at rethinkbutts.org.
So John, a lot of people have these in their, well, mostly everyone should have these in their homes. Not many people have actually had to use them, so you're going to show me how to use a fire extinguisher.
You bet. The directions are right here. Okay. When you have a fire, it's not the time to be reading the directions. If you don't know what to do, you just don't do it. It is that simple. There are different fire extinguishers you can buy. Make sure the ones you buy for your home are either ABC, and they'll say right on it, ABC, or they'll have little pictures of a garbage can, a gas can, and a plug. What the ABC means is it'll put out a solid fire, a liquid fire, and an electrical fire. So it should either be ABC or a BC, and that would be for the kitchen because you're probably going to have a grease fire or something there. So make sure you have the right extinguisher. This size is fine. And if there's a fire in your home that this is not going to put out, you shouldn't be fighting it. It is that simple. Okay? All right. So if you discover a fire, before you use the extinguisher, there's two acronyms here with using an extinguisher. The first one is RACE. It's Rescue, Alert, Contain, Extinguish. Obviously, the rescue for RACE, rescue, get the people out if you can, do it safely without putting yourself in danger, which if it's your family, that's going to be very hard not to leave them in there. Then sound the alarm. Your best alarm is your big mouth. Fire works really well. Hopefully your smoke alarms are working and they'll go off. Someone needs to call 911 after they're outside. And then the C is contained, and we're back to the shut doors, like we were at the safe house.
Yes.
Shut the doors around the fire. It'll keep it in one room for about 15, 20 minutes. If you are shutting doors around it, leave one open for you so you can get out. And then the E is extinguish. And again, that's if you know what you're doing. They're very simple to use. The acronym for that is PASS. It's pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So you pull this pin, all right, then you aim the extinguisher at the bottom of the fire. To do that, you just point it right at the bottom of the fire. All right, then you got to squeeze the handle, that's the first S, and then you sweep it slowly across the fire. So it's pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. The fire should go out, okay? Even before we have you put out a fire, if you ever do use a fire extinguisher and to put out a fire, call us anyway, even if you think it is out. A lot of times people think it's out and it's not. It can smolder for hours before it rekindles, and it's not going to cost you anything, and it makes our firefighters feel really smart when they show up and go, yeah, it's good, we got it. All right, so we'll light a fire for you, and I want you to back up a little bit. You want when you fight a fire, excuse me, you want to start
how
about
far away do you need to be?
6 to 8 feet away from the fire. Where you are is good, right here. You don't want to be right on top of it, because if you are, what happens when a fire gets hit with an extinguisher, it usually flares up. And if you are right here, it is going to flare up right in your face, and you are going to be in trouble. So we're going to add a little gasoline to here. And move it out of the way. And what I put in here, what we're burning today is, it's diesel fuel, because diesel fuel burns really hot, but it's very hard to light. So we put a little bit of gasoline on the top, so that way it just, boom, it gives it enough kick to get it started. All right, so let our fire get going here a little bit, so you're not just putting out a birthday candle. And we're at an angle here, so whenever you are ready, come on up right about to here. Trust me, I'm a professional. All right, all right, pull the pin. Just pull it straight out. All right, aim the extinguisher down at the bottom of the fire. I like how daintily you put the pin down, very nice.
Okay.
Point at the bottom of the fire, squeeze the handle.
Woo! That's
Fire
it?
is out, that is it.
All right,
There's
that was
nothing to
easy.
it. It is, it's very simple to do. They work very, very well. It is one of
Yeah.
the few things out there that does exactly what it's supposed to do. So make sure you have one, because like you said, it is very simple to do. You saw how quick it is.
Yeah.
It could save your life. It's that
Yeah.
simple. And your
Much
stuff.
easier than I thought it would be.
Good deal. Well, you had a
Great.
great teacher too.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much for
You bet.
showing us everything today.
You bet. You're very, very
And
welcome.
again, you can go to your website, which is
Which is oshkoshfd.com. If you go on our education link, there are all sorts of things on how to keep yourself and your family safe.
So John, you know how the holidays are getting going, and that creates a whole nother issue with fire safety. Can you tell us about some things that we can watch out for now that the holidays are upon us?
You bet. And the holidays are actually our busiest time of the year for fires. And not that there's ever a good time to have a fire, but wow, holidays are obviously the worst time. A big one is the cooking, like we talked about before. You have people making these huge Thanksgiving dinners that don't cook all year long. And then you have all the distractions going on, and the alcohol. When you throw the alcohol into a mix, things can go wrong very, very quickly. So if you're cooking, don't be drinking. Make sure someone is watching the stove, the oven. Keep the kids away from the stove. You should have a 3 feet zone around the stove or anywhere that you are cooking to make sure that they're not going to get hurt doing that.
And again, kind of going back to what you told us in the safe house with kitchen safety, just the basic, keep the handles inside the stove area and
You bet.
hot pads and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So
But speaking of the hot pads, don't use the towels for a hot pad. And I see that on TV all the time on the cooking shows. They grab them and they swing it around, and you can actually see how the towel is draping underneath, and it's just an accident waiting to happen.
in addition to the kitchen area where we need to look out for different fire hazards, where else in the home can we watch out and have good habits during the holidays?
Well, at Christmas time, the biggest problem are Christmas lights. You have to make sure if you are decorating with lights, first of all, if you are using them outside, make sure they're outdoor lights, because there are both. There are some that are indoor and outdoor, but make sure there are also those that are just specifically indoor and outdoor. So make sure if you are taking them outside, make sure they're outdoor lights. On a Christmas tree, Christmas trees burn unbelievably well. What you need to do is make sure that tree is watered. Buy a fresh tree. When you buy it, give it a good tap, and if it starts raining needles like Charlie Brown's tree, next. Just move on. And when you leave your home, make sure you turn out the lights, and that's a big mistake that people make. And I get it. They want to come home from their relative's house or from church or from wherever they're going, and you have the beautiful tree in the window and the snow is falling, and it's fantastic. It does look very beautiful. What you don't want is to come home on Christmas and have some uninvited guests that look a lot like me at your celebration. So watch the lights, watch the trees.
Okay, and so where else, once more, if you want to go over the website for us, where people can go for more information about
You bet. Our website is oshkoshfd.com, and it has, like I said, many, many different things on it, including holiday safety, and it is spelled out in much more detail.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for having us today, John, and showing us some good fire safety habits that we can try and make to prevent unwanted guests at our home, like you said.
You got it.
So thanks again for joining us, and make sure to tune into City Cable 10 for all of your community and government programming, or check us out on oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. We'll see you next time.